time. It's Wednesday, the 12th. So just checking in with you guys. What's up, man? How's everybody? Whew. Busy, 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 but let's do this, homie. Little bit of Isaac Hayes, Walk On By, The Black Moses. Vato developed a lot of good songs. All instrumental, homie. There was no technology back then. None of that Hollywood was invented yet, homes. You know what I mean? Keyboards like that and nah, you know? And loops and hooks and all that. Nah, it wasn't invented yet. This Vato developed a lot of tunes, music, homes. Pretty good. Thank you guys for tuning in. You know what's up. Double tap that screen. Say what's up, Cubo, man. Everybody welcome here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Double tap that screen. Share the live, homes. You know what's up. Just do that bottom. Anyways, how's everybody doing this evening, man? It's a blessing to be alive, you guys. Boom. Out of sport, my Lisa. You guys looking for the Lisa, you know what's up, homie? Hit me up right here on TikTok. No hay pedo también. You know? What's up, man? Johnny, what's up? Rose, what's up, man? Thank you guys. Bumping the rollers right now. Some little bit of Isaac Hayes. It's Wednesday.
No, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday?
Oh, yeah, it felt like a Wednesday.
It feels like a Wednesday. Dispensa, it's Tuesday, homie, the 12th, homie. I'm so used to Wednesdays, but you know what? I want to get ahead. Thank you for joining my fan club. Gracias, man. Jokes, what's up, man? What's crack-a-lacking? What's up, homie? How you do today? I'm doing feed, man. Jer Bear. Orale, Jer Bear. That's a female one. Man, at least he has a name. Some people be putting some freaking user gazillion number 300 gazillion and yeah, I'm feeding my canal. Gracias for asking. Xavier, what's up, homie? Just right here, dog. Just trying to wind down for the day, homes. It's just been hectic. I've been running around. I just got some new placas. Got some freaking firme placas. Some triple chrome placas, homie. They look firme. You know? Just seen you in Indicted TV broadcast, homies. It was good. Saludos. He's at Washington State. Gracias, homie. I appreciate it. Yeah. Man, this weekend, all weekend, I just been getting hit up, man, and just asking me about that Indicted show. You know what I mean? Well, they tell me, you know, they say, man, Holmes, it was firme, dog. It's a crazy story, you know? Gracias. I just kept it real, dog. You know, I couldn't get too much into detail. Dispensa, it's social media, homie, you know? And some things you remain to just keep on the low. And when we get face to face and you ask me that question, Simone, I'll answer it. I'll tell you the most gruesome stuff that I've seen in the pinta and all that, you know? But other than that, I can't, you know, I can't fill in those spots like that through social media. There's still people doing time, homes, you know? And I got to respect that. And I still live here in the hood, you know? So I don't want, you know what I mean, get some phone calls and, hey, Holmes, you know, hey, you know, you exposed too much. And I don't want to hear none of that, dog. You know what I mean? No disrespect to nobody. No organizations, no structures, dog. I just keep it cool, cordial, respect with everybody. And, you know, I just be me, Holmes, you know? The stories that I told, some of them, they're about me. You know, like I mentioned, I carry my fierros. I did my jales. You know, nobody else did, Holmes, you know? I ain't got to bring nobody under the bus like that, Holmes, you know? And it was a hard show because I believe, Holmes, that if you live that life, Holmes, you got to live it to the fullest. Ain't no half-stepping, dog, you know? And if you end up going that route and you dropped out or whatever, hey, more power to you. I always mention this on the podcast. I still got to respect you as a man out here, Holmes, you know what I mean? We cool, dog. I'm okay, you know? That's the life you live. Utmost respect, Holmes, that's feeding, you know? All I know that I finished what I started, you know? And And I still gotta respect you no matter what. That's vegan. Just don't speak to me about that language, about that lifestyle, you know. And hey, you remember this? Hey, you remember that? Like, nah, homie, you know, I just, you know, it's the past, dog. So who cares, homes? You know, that's the truth. Who cares, homes? You know, and you always gotta live the best that you can now that you're free, now that you're out, you know. But dispensa, if you guys didn't hear the most gruesome stories in there, dispensa. But thank you guys for always, you know what I mean, and giving me respect. Every time you guys see me, they're like, hey, Holmes, I seen you and indicted. Gracias, Holmes. But it's the truth. I just wanted a peace of mind, dog. You know, I wanted some sanity, understanding, being humble, change of heart, Holmes. You know, um, when you live that life, you just have a solid, ugly heart, a black heart, Holmes. You have no pity, no mercy upon nobody. Not even your loved ones, dog, because you're too lost. You're too caught up in that freaking web, homie, you know? And you can't get out of it, dog. You think you could stop doing drugs. You think you could stop drinking. You think you could stop. And you swear you can, but you can't, Holmes, you know? You're caught up in this freaking web of life, homie, that is ta cabron, dog. That's all you freaking know, Holmes. Get up in the morning, go do holly, go do whatever you can, and you just live that life. Is just a maze, homie. You know, you can't get out of it. And I just got tired of it, dog. You know, I just wanted out. I just wanted to finish the freaking race, you know, and go on with my life, Holmes, you know. And it was it was hard. It was freaking stressful. It was hard, you know. But at the end of it, you know, I picked up two more hollies, and you know, I they didn't pick them up, thank God. And you know, and that was it, dog. You know, I just walked out and I said, that's just too fast. I looked back one more last time when I got in that bus, once I remember. And you know what I mean? And I saluted that freaking the system, dog. Rato, homie. And I finished, you bastard. I'm done with you, you know, and put in a good little stretch. I had two numbers, you know, and never for once did I went out backwards. Never for once did I say, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna end it here in the system. And you know, like, nah, you finish what you started, Holmes. And you know, am I proud of what I did? No, Holmes. Every day I ask for forgiveness. Every day I thank the Lord, and we pray in the morning that I'm out, that I'm free, that I'm sober, that I'm not drinking, that I'm not doing drogas or living out in the calles. You know, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I eat good, I sleep good. You know, and just living a good life now, dog, the best that I can, and I get along with everybody. You know, I don't care what skin color you are, just treat me with respect. I'm gonna treat you with respect. I don't care if you're up north, down south, Arizona, wherever the whatever the locations at homes. I got respect for everybody, as long as they respect me, dog. You know, and if I know that there's trouble, why am I gonna hang around, dog? I gotta bounce and I gotta make a left turn, dog. You know, and all my life I left it behind. I'm still through, Chuz. You know what I mean? Uh, I'm still, you know, I'm always through, Chuz. I'm always alert. Always, you know what I mean? Tell my son, you know, my wife, or you know, keep punto. You know, I got them trained like the system, dog. I got them trained like if they were doing time. My son, he's truchas. He's like, he's up on it. You know, who's coming, who's going. You gotta be careful who's outside. You know, you just never know. There's the evil intentions all over, but I'm always careful and I'm blessed, you know? And I'm always respectful, you know? When they disrespect me or whatever. I hear stories or whatever. I just laugh, you know? I just laugh. Excuse me. I just laugh about it because they're just rumors or whatever. Like, oh, Ichi's daddy, this. There's my number. I've always said it, and you guys are gonna remember me for that forever. There's my number. Inbox me. Don't worry about the calles. I'll tell you where I live. Kylie, Holmes. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna jump in. Nobody's gonna do nothing, Kylie. You wanna settle some things or you wanna talk? I'm here. I don't need to sit there and go look for people or go look for the haters because of this. They're always gonna talk smack. They're always gonna disapprove of what you do, but that's fine. You know what I mean? I could care less. You know, they could go suck a freaking egg, homie. You know, they're probably just mad because they ain't got it like that. They're probably mad because they ain't got a business. They're probably mad because they ain't got a family that loves them. They probably mad because their product ain't around the world like that. They're probably mad because they probably dropped out or their neighborhood hates them. That's them. That's you, homie. I have nothing against it. That's go live your life as best as you can. You know, you can't walk around hating. You can't walk around with your hip freaking kicking rocks and looking at the concrete as you're walking and trying to think why you ain't accepted, why this and that. Maybe you gotta change your inner self, you know? Maybe you gotta stop drinking haterade, homes, you know? And go about your life and go about your business so you could be successful, so you could be blessed, so you could be happy, you know? It doesn't matter what you did on your past, it's done and over with, you know? If you messed up or whatever the case might be, you can't clean it up, that's fine. You don't have to prove nothing to nobody, just yourself and God, homes, you know? And if you got young loved ones, then take care of them. Be a man and man up and take care of them. You know, I always try to give a helping hand for those that ask for it as much as I can, you know. But as for the hate, nah, I ain't got time. And there's no room in this life for hate. This whole world is just evil and it's corrupt, homie. You know, they just what the orange vato just passed a law about the voting, homie. They're gonna make it all sábanas again, all gabachos again, dog. So you know, they want that power and control, homie, you know. So us brown gente is gonna take a little impact, you know, and you know they're always gonna be like that, dog. Haters are always gonna be around. People that hate other people always gonna be around, but never mind them, homie. You know they could go suck a freaking egg. They're time to come and see you, dog. And I've always said it. There's inbox me, homie. You ain't gotta worry about trying to track me down or whatever. I ain't gonna run from nothing for what, homie. You know, if I did wrong to you, hey, dispensa back in the days, homie, you know? Other than that, homes, you know, go live your life, dog. Go be a good person, homie. You know, life is beautiful. The sun shines for everybody, homie. I know we get some rainy days, but most of the days are sunny, dog. They're beautiful. The birds are out, homes. You know, the crows are flying. You know, the wind is blowing, dog. And the leaves, they might fall, they might grow. The flowers just blossom, homie. You know, that's life, dog. That's nature. God made that. As much as he made the birds and feeds them every day, he'll take care of you, dog. You just gotta get rid of your freaking evil heart, homie, you know? Now stop flipper lipping, homie. You gotta stop talking masa, you know? Stop instigating. Stop being a chavala, dog. Serio pills. Just stop being a leva, homie, you know? You just do you, Holmes, you know? If you got a podcast, if you got a network or whatever, Holmes, don't be instigating stuff on. Don't be talking about other vatos, dog. Freaking let it go. And as old as you vatos are with gray hair and white hair and talking about other vatos, man, come on, dog. Too old for that shh. You know what I mean? It is. You're too old, dog. Let that crap go. You'll be all right, Holmes. Go make your fate something else, about something else, Holmes, you know? And if you're stirring it up with other razas, there's always been trouble with other razas, homie. There's always been pedo with the morenos, Holmes. Ain't nothing freaking new, dog, you know? I'm not here to stir it up, Holmes. Just try to keep the peace, fool. And if you can't keep the freaking peace, keep your distance, homie. You know? You ain't gotta be all buddy with them, but at the same token, have a little bit of respect for yourself and for their loved ones también, the little ones, dog, you know? You know what you're capable of. You already know what they're capable of. Just keep it firme, keep it cordial, keep it respectful, homes, you know? Let them do their freaking holly and whine and complain, and we just do our holly, homes, you know? We keep to ourselves. We're not here on social media to freaking instigate or I should have done this, you should have done that. You shouldn't have done nothing, homie. You should be a freaking OG, homes, and just keep to yourself, carnal, you know? Keep it firme. Now, pedo jumps off, well, hey, Holmes, you're a man, dog. I can't hold you back, see? But I could hold you back from those intentions that you're trying to do, where somebody else is trying to give you those, to instigate something, homie, to clear out your mind and clear out your heart, Holmes. But you're still a man. You're going to do what you got to do. I get it, homie. But at the same token, if you could avoid it, dale gas. Because I'd rather see you out here with your family to push in life than to be torcido over some bull crap, homie. Over some social media nonsense, dog. That the man is getting paid and we're just going down like that, homies. Right?
That's right. That's absolutely true. Um,
Go ahead.
it says on one of the things it says, but hate, who do you hate? Sounds like you're doing a lot of hating there with the racista comment.
I don't hate on nobody,
You're
homie.
not.
I don't hate on nobody. Comments like that, dog, is because of all the instigating that's been going on. If you're not aware that a lot of instigating has been going on with the black and brown ones, you know? A lot of morenos have been talking masa and Rasa también, you know what I mean? But it's just to keep the peace, homes, you know? But haters are always going to jump on social media and talk nonsense. The best thing to do is just try to avoid it as best as you can, you know? As for the black and brown, well, Holmes, you know what I mean? The Morenos have the tendency to speak up and say, hey, you know what? We're going to sit down on this one and let them deal with the yellow and all that. That's fine. You know, we've been dealing with all the whole holiday that's been going down. You know what I mean? It's no biggie. They already been through their situation. So to us, we're going to go keep on pushing. So ain't
That's right.
nobody hating on nobody. But if you could understand, you know what I mean? If you're on social media and you've been through the whole pages of Rasa, Chicanos, and all that, there's always instigators, you know what I mean? And if we could keep the peace, and that's feeding, you know? But we don't hate on nobody,
No.
you know? I just finished explaining that if we could keep it cordial, respectful, and keep it firme, give him the 10 feet, just like he'll give you the 10 feet and to go about your life. Because all that hate, all that anger, and all that bitterness, they don't go that way, homie. Go ahead.
George Guzman says, still was a good podcast, homie. Nothing but the truth and your story. You should make a book.
If I were to make a book, carnal, I, I would have to ask permission for the gente that were part of the cases, the issues, the highlights, because they're too gruesome, homie. They are, dog. They're hard ones, homie. There's some freaking hard stories I didn't mention there, dog. But you know what, carnal? What's his name?
Uh, George Guzman.
George. But I'm gonna be honest with you, George. A lot of people don't know this, but it's an eye for an eye, dog. It's an eye for an eye, Holmes. You know what I mean? The way it was in life, yeah. You do bad, bad comes back to you. You know what I mean? You do this, and that happens to you. It's the truth, dog. I was no innocent person. I was just trying to find a way out, a better way of life, homie. You know, but unfortunately, the more that I tried, it was like a quicksand. You know, hold me down. El Hoyo Maravilla, talking facts. I said, what up, homie? Saludos to, that's an old freaking barrio, if you guys don't know. El Hoyo Maravilla is one of the first ones from the Maravilla sections. They go back in the 20s and 30s. That's an old freaking neighborhood. Salute, homie. Everybody from Maravilla. We always had a split with them, Rosomats. No hate on them, but we could never relate. Yeah, Johnny. It's true, dog. It's true, Holmes. You know, the culturas are two different freaking ball games, dog. You know, but nevertheless, we gotta live amongst each other, dog. You know, I know a lot of Rasa that lives in Compton and all that, dog. So, you know, in the projects, you know, just keep it cordial, keep it respectful. You know, to you know, it's two different cultures, but nevertheless, the música and all that, we do listen to it, homes. You know, the Pachuco, the Sutsu did come from them, you know what I mean? The lowriding, it was us, you know, but, you know, nevertheless, long as we keep it cordial, respectful, do us, and they do them, that's feeding, you know, but you could keep the peace as much as you can. If you could talk about the peace, hey, more power to you, homes. Because the violence and the freaking negativity is always gonna be there. As much as we try to talk the peace, there's always gonna be this madre, you know? And I mentioned earlier that hey, if you're a man, you gotta do what you gotta do. Then hey, homes handle business, dog. That's you. I'm no one to stop you. Your familia comes first, homie, you know? But please be safe for everybody, homes. You know what I mean? I don't care what, who, when, or what. You know. Uh, do I only sell my loans? Yeah, I do. Bail bonds. I tried. I do it because carrying all that stuff. No freaking way, huh? We would have racks and racks of the clothing coming out. You know. But yeah, just on the linea. You know what I mean? I hate carrying all the stuff, but I have it. It's just carrying it on.
Yeah, it's just a
It's
lot of.
too
We have a
much.
lot
We
of
have a
stuff.
lot of stuff, you know. Do you think peace will ever come between the North and South? Um, Elias, I'm no one to speak on those matters, Holmes, because I don't speak political. But this is my part, homie. Somos Chicanos, dog. I pray it does, homie. I pray it does. People gonna say negative things. I just hope it does because we Rasa, dog. You know, we Rasa. But you know, I'm no one to speak on that. Those matters. I'm nowhere in position. I don't do time no more. You know, but nevertheless, we Rasa. You know, and I like this rapper from up there. He's female, but he too much of the 1-4, the 1-4, you know. But he's a female freaking rapper. I ain't gonna lie. I think he's one of the best ones that I've heard, Rasa wise, you know. But when you limit yourself to staying with the section, then you know you cut your finances in half. I mean, you know, if you keep it open, if you keep it just closed of that side or where you from, what, when, where, then doors will open for you. You know what I mean? So I pray it does. You know what I mean? I think the Savana wants the energy of this Madre within the Rasa and the Morenos. Of course, homie. I've mentioned that before. That who's behind it? You know, who's behind the whole Desmadre? But it's true. I remember in the 80s and the 90s, they built like 20 something prisons in the state of California. They had to fill them up, dog. They had to fill them up. They had to fill them up. They had to fill them up. That's how they make their finances, you know? That that individual, what's his name, that's running for mayor, for governor. He's running for governor. What's his name? That old man? I forgot his name. But he's a billionaire,
Yeah,
dog.
he is.
And he made his finances through incarceration, private prisons, dog. They promised them to send inmates, you know what I mean, and get the conviction. The city of Norwalk had 95 to 98% conviction rates, dog, from the late 80s to the mid 90s, dog. They just conviction, conviction, conviction. The more they send out black and brown homes, the more that these prisons will get freaking packed and make their finances, dog. You know, private corporations and all that. That's how they make their big freaking money. And us like dummies, we keep on falling for that same old freaking trap, homes over and over. You know, they make big money out of us. You know, and they let us have what we want: alcohol, booze, yesca, dispensaries. They let us have all that, dog. Like us, like dummies, we fall for it. You know, like, oh yeah, it's fine. You know, that's okay. You know, I worked hard all weekend. You know, and you know, little by little, one thing leads to another. Next thing you know, you have all the clavo. Who do you think brought all the piedra? Think the Rasa, the Morenos brought the piedra, homie? Hell no, dog. It was a scam, dog. And they just freaking reel us in, homes. And next thing you know, we're torcidos. We're convicted. We got a CC number, dog, you know? But the system's corrupt, dog, you know? Cuba Anthony family. Philip, what's up, homie?
Hey, Philip.
Can't be afraid of change, Francis. That's right, homie. Norwalk courthouse was known for no walk. Yeah, exactly. 95, 98% conviction rate, homie. That was a lot, dog. Them matos weren't playing, homie. They just, I'm on next one, next one. And they would give you a hot shower, dog. That means go pick up a CDC number and come back. They still registered you as in parole. So long as you were on parole, they were easy to violate you, dog. You know.
Roger says, "Hey, I just ran into your videos second time watching. Love the vibes. Thank
Thank you
you,
so
Roger."
much. Thank you, Roger. Eric, I'm from Whittier. I remember that, homie. Yeah, that's right, Eric. Whittier wasn't getting away with it. Whittier would take you to the municipal court, and from the municipal court, bound you over to the Superior Court in Norwalk, Southeast Division. That took care of some of Compton, Paramount, a little bit of Long Beach, and Hawaiian Gardens, and all the way to Norwalk and La Mirada. And every department had the most lenient one that kind of gave you a little break was Compton Courthouse and CCB in downtown LA. They were a little bit more lenient. But Pomona, Harbor area, and Norwalk, you weren't walking. Yeah, hell no. They
That's
were
crazy.
for sure conviction, conviction, conviction. They wanted the conviction, and that's the problem with us that we kept on falling for it, you know. And it was gacho because us we were just like we weren't thinking of getting caught for certain crimes. You know, a lot of Rasa wasn't thinking of getting caught for certain crimes, and anything they could, they'll put it all together and give you that conviction and a one-way ticket to the system, dog. You know. What up, Lisa? Uh,
Hey, Lisa.
Arturo, what's up, Arturo? What does Arturo want? He got some comments.
I
What
don't know.
is
He
it, dog?
just said, "Do you remember when they made us integrate in AZ?" Then he said,
I'm not from Arizona,
"Never
carnal.
mind. Yeah, yeah."
I ain't from Arizona, homes, you know. But Arizona had their whole different system, dog. Arizona has always been different. I believe Arizona had like 3 prisons. I believe, from what I recall, because we were right there by Yuma, and we were about maybe like 5 miles away from Yuma. We were in the state of California. That's where the Southern California prisons are at, you know. So we could only hear so much in the channel stations that would come in from to California. Some of them were from Arizona, so we picked up as much as we could, you know. But it was just different, you know. The system's different than over here, dog. Over here, you know, you couldn't integrate. Right here, you had to take care of your business. I think that between federal time and state time, I'd rather do state time. It's crazier, this madre y medio, but federal time it's feedment, you know. But federal time will break you off, so you're kind of screwed both ways. But I think I'd rather do the state and try to catch the halftime and deal with the freaking mayhem than doing the whole, you know, the whole Holly. Cook County Jail in Chicago is all messed up. All right. Where did you grow up at, homie, if you don't mind me asking? Right here in Norwalk, dog, in the one ways. I still live here. I don't live in the one ways. I live across the street. I live in the barrio, the 160s. Big Boy Santana, what's up, homito? Saludos. Thank you for tuning in. You got a calming vibe. Gracias, gracias. But yeah, that's how much I know about Arizona. It was just different, you know. But other than that, you know, I'd rather do the state time, you know, and go to the shoe and go do the whole desmadre than do the whole federal time, you know. But then again, state was breaking you off 80%, you know. What's up, Nadine?
Hi, Nadine.
El que no conoce el toro no conoce Santana. Ándale, shout. My pops grew up in the barrio Chivas. I think it's by Norwalk. Yeah, that's across the street, dog. That's a few streets down, dog. They call it Chivas because it was a goat town, dog. You know, they had nothing but goats there. You know, they even had a dairy that served goat milk. But it's down the street. I live about a block away from there. Were you here in Arizona prison? No, I was in Centinela, and that's a few miles away from Yuma. You know, so we would get the Arizona stations. You know, so California had some TV stations, but some of them were from Arizona because it was so close by the border. how much time did I do? Man, I didn't jingle the time. Close to about 15 years, I think. I did a gang of time. I had 2 CDC numbers and that. But I'm cool. Okay, thank you. Live in Tucson, Arizona. Oh, that's right. You live there? All right. That's feed, man. It's not easy. Yeah, it was all right. Do you ever go up to the Bay? Uh, Pelican Bay or the Bay Area? We've been close to the Bay Area, but I never been to to the Bay. Pelican Bay? No, dog. To Pelican Bay? No. I went to Tracy. I went to freaking Tracy. That was his mother.
It's horrible.
Yeah, but it was hard. It was hard going to Pelican Bay my time, dog. You had to get a minimum of 36 months shoe, I think. And even that, the waiting list was freaking like 2 years long, you know? So everybody tries to go to the Bay, but it's hard getting up there, dog, you know? You want to have you know what I mean, your representations or whatever, you know? Yeah, I'm feeling it now. How many years did it take for you to truly change your mindset? Takes about 5 years, homie, you know? Takes about 5 years. DVI was gladiator school back in the 90s. Yes, I did time there, dog, in DVI. I did time there, dog. That was the craziest prison, dog. Tracy. Tracy was the craziest prison. Back then, they made you sign your body away, dog. No other prison in California did it. Just Tracy. That they weren't responsible for your corpse or nothing.
That's crazy.
And then if you didn't sign it, you couldn't program. I'm a rider, homie. I'm gonna freaking go out there and go to the yard. I ain't gonna freaking stay locked up like that. Hell no. And everybody signs it. I'm gonna just go to the yard. Because if not, they keep you locked down. They try to transfer you in about a year. But, you know, you just deal with the punches. But dang, god dang, homie, it was brutal. It was like 10-1, homie. She was su madre. But, hey, we roll with it, homie. Ain't nothing to be crying about, dog. You know? Did I see Vatos crying there? Hell yeah, I did, dog. See some paisa crying for his mom, dog. I don't get into those stories, but anyways, you know. Oh yeah, bro, how do I get this? Just right here, dog. Right here. Go to my TikTok canal. Right here. Arlene, hey, boss man. Hey, what's up, you guys? Hey, Dan, what's up, man? Hey, thank you guys for tuning in, man.
Juan Mendoza said, I'm clean since 2000.
Since 2000?
That's right, Juan.
That's at 26 years?
Mm-hmm.
Proud of you, fool.
Good job.
Mine is, I think, 20, 21, I think, 20, I think. Mm-hmm. 19, 20, 21. I don't keep track, dog. I refuse to remember the last time I got high, dog. But I'm right behind you, fool. That's right. Proud of you, fool. That's right.
Good job, Juan. That's right.
Solid Dad was cracking too, bro. Yeah, I did time in Solid Dad. I did 3 years there, I think. I don't remember. I was there for a while, but we were always slammed down. Been out 10 years after doing 10 years on a 7 Alive. That's right, Jose. Hey, proud of you, dog. Good job, Holmes. Keep pushing, dog. After your 5th year, that's it, Holmes. You know, most likely you ain't going back, dog. You know? That's the rate at 5 years, homie. You know, most likely you ain't going back, dog. You know? And people that try to take on life, the volada, and, you know, get up on it and, you know, just take it easy, enjoy the walk, homie. You know,
baby steps.
Baby steps, yeah. Dog. You know, it takes a little while. You know. How old are you now? I'm 21, homie. Do you get into sports or football, homie? Who's your team? Raiders, dog. I really don't watch too much sports, carnal, because sports distracts you from the reality of life, homes, and the things in politics and all that, dog, and what they're voting against our Rasa and what's really taking place. And it's a big old freaking scam, dog. The sporting system's a scam, dog. They just want to make big feria and have only a handful of morenos and give them their millions, or, you know what I mean? And it's you know, it's the same old, dog. And the Raiders are always going to freaking lose, dog. And they're going to transfer them again in another 5 years just to make more money to another district, dog. It's just a big old freaking scam, homie, you know? Lakers out the playoff. Yes, that's right. I said, well, yeah, they suck too, Holmes. You know what I mean? That's our team, but they suck, homie. What does he say on YouTube? He says
It's
something.
saying, congratulations, my brother. Proud of you, big dog. 20 years clean. You really made it. Blessings, my brother.
Yeah. Robert Simon, gracias, homie. As 20 years clean, dog. You know. Dodgers too, dog. I like the Dodgers, Holmes. Let me just break it down to you guys and understand this, and I want you to get the concept of this, dog. That's Chavez Ravine, dog. That was an actual barrio there, dog. Of all Rasa, of all Chicanos. That's like the first generation of Chicanos there, dog. And they pushed them out, Holmes. You know what I mean? Um, Am I mad because they did it? Kind of, sort of, homie, but not really because it was able to build a lot of memories with the Rasa, with their families, with their kids, their
Your
loved ones. So it was a
grandkids.
sacrifice, homie. You know, it was a big sacrifice that the families had to give up, and the city mayor, and all them, the manager kicked them all out, city manager. They did our Rasa dirty, homie, you know? But then in return, we got memories. We got time to spend with our familias. I still remember in the late 70s, early 80s to go out there to the Dodger Stadium. I was able to get close to Fernando Valenzuela, you know, and those memories, I'll never forget them with my uncles, you know. I'll never forget it. It built up memories with me, you know, and I was thankful. Though it was very hard, but you know, we were broke, but I was very thankful. So those are the things that I kind of like, man, thank the families that, you know, were able to sacrifice to give us the team up there, dog. So right there on third base, homie, that's the heart of Chavez Ravine, dog. So every time you see the Dodgers, don't just look at the team, homes. Look at the sacrifice, dog, that our gente went through to have that team up there, dog. You know, and I'm blessed both ways. Do I disagree how they participate in those private industries and all that? Nah, dog. You know, they're scandalous, but they're millionaires, dog. So we can't. You could only do so much, dog. You know. But do I like the Dodgers? They're feeding me, dog. They're all right, Holmes. You know what I mean? They're pretty feeding me. I'm thankful for it being in Chavez Ravine, so I don't call it Elysian Park. I don't call it none of that. I call it Chavez Ravine, dog. You know what I mean? It's always been there, and Rasa's been there. Rasa's been there since the 20s, dog. 1920s. That's an original barrio there, dog. Chavez Ravine. That's why Dodger Stadium is up there, dog. Edgar Eso. Yeah, that's true, dog. And that's why every time I look at the Dodgers, it reminds me it's the Rasa representation, dog. You know, but they're gonna make their feria, dog. They're gonna make their big millions, and they could
Big
care less
millions.
about us, dog. Not one of them's gonna give an f about you need to pay your bills. You need to pay that. They don't give an f, homie. They're gonna make their millions. So it's up to you whether you want to follow the sports or you don't, dog. I really don't, homie. You know, I like to watch the news. You know what I mean? I like to study. You know, I like to know what's kind of going down and how much the peso's at right now, the dollar against the peso, who's coming, who's going. And I always like to stay up to date of what's taking place, dog, you know? Because you just never know. Are you coming to social media? You gotta speak, you gotta talk, and you know, you just ain't gonna wolf out of the side of your neck. You're gonna do a little study, a little something behind it, you know? It's rare. I might watch a little bit of Seinfeld if that, dog, you know. But other than that, I love watching news. I like to turn on the YouTube and I like to turn on the news and what's taking place, dog. I like to be up to beat, home, see what's taking place, dog. You know, because us as a representative of Rasa, you gotta be able to hold a little decent conversation, dog. You know, I look all solo, I look all this, but at the same token, we could sit down and have a good professional conversation, dog, of what's taking place in the world, you know, and everybody trips out. They're like, damn, dog, I didn't know you, you know what I mean? Like, well, you gotta study, dog. That's the reason why I don't pistear. We don't go out like that. You know what I mean? If we do, it's rare. Me and my wife, it's rare, you know, but I enjoy it as much as we can. We don't go to the movies. The movies is, what is it, once a year? Once a year if we do. I think the
Yeah.
last one that I went to the movies was that I didn't like the movie. I hated it. It was
What was it?
the fighting one with
Yeah,
the Marvel
yeah,
comics.
the Wolverine versus.
Wolverine versus that other
Yeah.
vato, and it's all demonic,
Oh my
dog.
god,
I
yeah.
was like, what? Yeah, dog, it was all demonic, Holmes. You pay attention to it, and the one that kind of like really topped it off is when they're fighting inside the car and they had the sticker of the coexist, and then all the blood shit comes down into the coexist. Like they've shedded blood for all the religions. No, there's only one lamb, dog. And that's the man upstairs. That's Jesucristo himself, homie. Only one sacrifice, dog. But, but anyway, And then the hole where they had all the comic vatos, what do they call
Oh,
the
the
DC,
yeah, yeah, like it's like the
all
where
the
they're
vatos,
all in there.
that's Hades, dog. And of course, when Jesus came down, he went down to Hades, the keys of life, and everything is biblical. So it's kind of like they kind of broke things down like the way their life would be, like the way the comics were the superheroes or whatever. But the location was Hades, and the only place that anybody went down and came out of it was Jesus. After 40 days, after the third day he rose, but 40 days later he was out. He was able to get the keys of death. It was the same thing with that movie. It's glitching. Órale, Lisa
No,
Dispensa.
I don't think.
It's not glitching, all right.
Oh, it
Crazy
might be
times. People
hers.
are worshiping Trump. Yeah, dog. They're just That's how father way, homes. You know what I mean? It's just too crazy.
Yeah.
Um, what else? Any other question?
Or Robert says, brother, Tuffy sends his saludos, my brother. That's the brother right before he's still behind the wall fighting to come home.
Yeah, he's Tuffy's uh 92. Count back.
To play too?
Yeah, 34 years. 30,
Yeah.
yeah, 34 years. He's been busted 34 years, my homeboy Tuffy. He was a young man. He was a teenager. He wasn't even an adult.
Yeah, 34 years.
Man, I hope he gets out. Just pray he gets out. Johnny, what's up, homie? What's going down? Yeah, Satan has no imagination. He copies God's way of doing things. Cindy. Yeah, Cindy, that's the truth. That movie's crazy. What's the name of that movie?
It's Wolverine versus.
Wolverine. That's the last movie I seen. I walked out.
I think we had done the show the day before, no?
No, we were at Laughlin.
You watch it at home? You didn't watch it here?
No, we watched it at Laughlin. Oh,
Versus Deadpool, no?
Deadpool. Yeah, that movie, dog. That's a crazy. And then they're fighting inside the Ranfla and that coexist sign, dog. The blood was shedding over it, like, oh damn. It's like the story of Jesus, dog. Well, that was crazy, homie. Bro, why don't you, brother, group to help people out with your stories so they understand there's a better way out there? I do, Kevin. I do, dog. Look, the only problem, Kevin, I'm gonna be honest, dog. A lot of people tend to push away. And what I mean about that, like if there's programs out there, city programs or whatever the case might be, and they have a good speaker, a good representative, uh, build stats and bring a presentation, dog, which I'll do it, I've done it. Right away they get standoffish, dog. They think right away you're gonna take their hollering. And they're gonna want to hire you to take care of any gang prevention programs or drug prevention programs, and they'll hire you, dog. And to me, I don't think I could ever work for the city. One, two, I'm not there to take nobody's holiday, dog. If you feel I'm a threat towards your holiday, dog, for the way that I speak, it's your issue, not mine. See, that's how you block your blessing, dog. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And I've been to a lot of presentations where there's a gang of Uras, detectives, homie, and they've called me in. And how is it that I was able to develop ministries, outreach ministries, and how to do this and how to do that, how to reach to the youth, without being without harassment, how to approach a youth, and they've asked me all these things, and they brought me on board one time. And right away, they just start pushing away the individuals that work for these programs because they've been funded by LLCs or 501c3s. I mean, and right away they think, oh, this individual's here. He does it. He's going to take my job. He's going to take my position. I'm not. I could care less, homie. I don't care how much you pay because to me, I have my own hustle. I have my own game. I have my own hale. And when people, which I've seen, they've blocked me, I could see their blessings being blocked, and that's on them. That's not on me. But any individual that I bumped into, especially like towards the gyms or whatever, and I found out that they're Judas because they'll tell me, they're like, what's up, man? It's Puerco, clowning around. Yeah. And I'll give him my card. I go, hey, man, besides your holly, I don't give an F about your holly, homie. But if you know that there's troubled youth or whatever, call me up and I'll speak to them. You know what I mean? And they have. And I'm blessed with that. I really don't care. I've even traveled to, where was it at? Palmdale?
Oh no.
Palmdale.
Was it Palmdale?
Yeah, Palmdale for
Or was that
Lancaster
Israel?
for
To the
parole office,
yeah.
homie. And speak out there. And I have, dog. Wherever the Lord takes me, I'll go, dog. I don't have a line for me, you know what I mean? I don't. The only place I haven't gone to is back to prison. I haven't filed for the the approval. But other than that, I've been through juvenile halls. I've spoke at juvenile halls, and the kids, they like to hear those crazy war stories. And you got to throw in a little bit of something. And at the same token, you gotta I've been to juvenile hall a few
Yeah,
times.
you actually would.
I remember one time I went over there and they were serving hot dogs and hamburgers and chips and sodas. I remember, and one of the youngsters, he was acting up, and they sent him to the room. I remember they sent him to the room, and I grabbed the food and everything. I said, hey, let me walk me back over there. He goes, oh, well, you can. I go, just walk me back, Holmes. Do me the favor. I told the staff. And they opened the door, and I was able to. He was eating his food right there, and I was outside the room, and the door was open. While he was eating, I was talking to him. You know, I said, hey, mijo, I was once in your shoes. And he was just eating, and he didn't finish his food, and he just sit there and just listen. At the end of the whole conversation, he got up, and I said, hey, man. He said, hey, man, and thank you for coming and thank you for spending time. And I appreciate it for you bringing me the food because the staff wasn't going to bring it to me. I said, mijo, I want you to do good. The system's a trap and they're going to keep you here as long as you act that way. You have to fight your own mind. You have to fight your own demons. To come out of here alive, to be successful, and to do the things that I'm doing. I wish people would have done that when I was in juvenile hall and explain things to me and bring me the food to myself. You know? At the end, he told the Buddha, hey, man, the stuff, hey, man, I apologize for what I said. Everything was fine, and that was it. I go, hey, man, take care. And they closed the door, and that was it. He finished his food and everything. I'll never forget it. I took it back there to him. I didn't care what the staff had to say because I was that kid at one time. I was rebellious. I would kick the door, spit at people, and fight and throw them apples and freaking cause destruction. Every day, get the freaking hot butter. I remember, get the freaking hot butter. There's no TVs, no nothing. Just grab the freaking hot butter and a piece of thing and throw it up in the air so it could get stuck on the freaking top. You know? or get the freaking pencils and let them get stuck up there and freaking throw the food or whatever. Just do stupid stuff just for you to freaking get in trouble and just freaking deal with it, you know? They wouldn't even give you the freaking toothbrush to brush your teeth home, so you would have to save the apples when you're in the hole. That way you could use the apple to freaking brush your teeth with it because they wouldn't give you nothing. They could care less. Take all your freaking clothes, homes, and leave you in your freaking your tantarans, because that's what they gave you, tantarans. They didn't even give you boxers, homie, you know? It did you dirty, homes. And at times they would freaking dye the clothes pink just to be freaking putos, homie, you know? They were scandalous, you know? That's the system was ruthless, you know? But when it comes down to it, homies, and I gotta go speak wherever God takes me, I go. A lot of times they get threatened. Oh, this individual comes prepared. This guy's a pro at it, you know? Not that I'm a pro at it. I just do it the way God tells me to do it. And that's how they feel threatened. The funny thing is that I could see their blessings being pulled away. Why would you want to pull away your blessings when you could get glitch out of this individual, you know? But that's them. But when it comes down to it, yeah, you know, I just do it. Apples works for my say 2-year-old teeth, not toothpaste. Yes, exactly. Just bite the apple and rub it on. They wouldn't give you toothbrushes. They were scandalous, dog.
And it's like all you guys needed was some type of
Uh,
compassion.
you would be really good at speaking to youth that was CYA. Simone. Oh, yeah, yeah. What's up, Mike? Farmer Mike. That's Farmer Mike.
Hey, Mike.
What's up, Mike? Yeah. But unfortunately, a lot of the California youth authorities have been shut down, right? We have one right here. It's been shut down. Yo, Rocking, what's the word? How are you? I'm good. Oh, Darren,
Hey,
what's
what's
up,
up, Darren?
Darren? Just right here, Darren, just talking about when God caused me to go speak at gang
Review.
preventions, juvenile delinquents. I don't, I loved it. You know what I mean? I really don't care. You know what I mean? When I see a Huda, he's working out, whatever, and he approaches me, you know, and I find out he's a Huda, here's my card, homie. You know, if you have juveniles that need to be speaking to, let me know. You know what I mean? I'll do it out of my heart. Don't worry about paying me. You know?
And you've always done it out of your heart.
I
You
always,
never said, "Okay, I'm gonna go." But how much you gonna give me? Oh,
yeah,
I'm
I
not going.
never say how
Never.
much you give
We
me.
you never do
If
it for
I
money.
would ask money, even for gas, homie, you're freaking selfish, dog. I
Yep.
could never do that, dog. I could never ask. Maybe I could ask a drink of water. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
give me the water.
You got a water bottle right there, dog? Cause I gotta speak, you know. But gas, food, or anything like that, no, I wouldn't do that, dog. Why? Because if God gave me everything, who am I to go tax somebody for it, dog? If somebody needs the freaking help, dog, you
Exactly.
know?
And you're doing it not because it's a job for you or you're seeking money. You're doing it
Not
because
that
you
I'm
were
seeking
there
money, yeah.
once and you want to help. You actually want to help.
Yeah. Darren said, where's all the hyenas at? All the tortas. Where's the tortas at, homie?
Oh my God.
Darren's crazy.
Too much.
Uh, yeah, but that's the truth, you know what I mean? And anybody else?
What does it say? I meant, oh no.
But
No,
that's the
it's
truth.
going
When
slow.
it
Oh,
comes
Jorge
to
said en serio.
George, yeah. Um, when the doors open up for me to go speak, then I go, dog. Other than that, I won't. You know what I mean? I won't charge. And
Okay.
I've been to juvenile halls. I've been to,
The convalescent homes too.
I've been to convalescent homes. You know what? I'm not gonna lie, you guys. I've been to the the whole at Camp Page. I think it was Camp Page. I've been to the whole there to go talk to the youngsters. We did a car show one time right there with Pastor
Felice,
Felipe.
rest in peace, yeah.
Rest in peace. It was a crazy show. You guys know I do car shows, so we did a car show for them one time there, and we participated. It was pretty good. I went to the hole to go talk to the kids. Um, I've done all the mysteries, you know. I've done all the ministries, you know, and the one that really took it, you guys, I'm not gonna lie, homes. I've done Skid Row ministry. I've done motel. Motels are sad, dog, because you can see the kids and the hint that they're all high and all that whole this madre. I've seen it all, dog. But I think the worst one, dog, would have to be the convalescent home one, dog. That one really took a toll on me, dog. They have a wall, and then that wall is like under 3 months that you got to live, dog. And you could tell they're in agony, they're in pain, or they're just doped up, dog. And they're just like their body's stiff, homie. And that's the worst one, dog. And you see a lot of patients with cancer and all that, and viejitos, and you get to wonder of, even the ones with the stroke and heart attacks, and they were just gone, dog, ready to go meet their maker homes, and you could see them all lined up, dog. And you would go from room to room to try to greet them and to try to, pray for them, or try to hold their hand. Some of them will hold and squeeze. Can you hear me? And they will squeeze your hand, dog. Like the last of the message that they want to relate out to the world. And you're there just to try to translate into whatever they're saying, dog. Or they're hooked up with machines or whatever, dog. And it's just, you know, um, some of them would cry, and it's like, man, that it's hopeless. You can't, they can't relate a message no more. And you can see they're in agony and they're in pain. And when you try to talk to them, their mouth would be open and no teeth, and they would just breathe out of their mouth, and they try to tell you something, and it's like, man, you know, you just pray for them. Hey, man, it's gonna be okay. And it humbles an individual. If you ever think that you're all chingon in life and all that, Holmes, I recommend you do convalescent home ministry, dog. That'll humble you, got you, dog. That'll really penetrate your heart, your mind, your spirit, your soul, dog. And it gets you thinking. You go home thinking about these things, homie. And you be thankful and you be grateful, and you pick up your kids even more with the might of the spirit of God, because you know then you wonder, how did they live their life, homes. Well, how did they live their life? Were they bad people in this world? Are they paying the price now? I don't know but if I'm still alive, I'm gonna try to do the best that I can. I'll try to do the best that I can in my life, so I could lead by example. Am I perfect? No. Am I a sinner? Yes. But at the same token, I can't do people like that. I don't want to end up like that. I want to be able to pass in my bed, homie, through a heart attack when I get older, or whatever the case might be. But if that doesn't happen and God does otherwise to me, then that's fine. That's okay. If I'm able to still get on my knees and to thank him while I'm half paralyzed, hey, amen. Because the way I'm going to go out of this world, homie, I'm going to go on my knees, homie. Zapata said, I'd rather die on my feet than to live on my knees. Well, I'll tell you what, homie, I'd rather die on my knees, because I'll be thanking God, homie, for what he gave me. And if I'm half paralyzed, God forbid, but I'm gonna do what I can, and everybody just leave me alone. Let me fight this battle of flesh and spirit that's coming to play, and the rigor mortis wants to kick in and all that, dog. He's like, hey, this pleito ain't with you guys. It's between me, God, and the enemy. It's fighting. It's a battle over my spirit, homie. And let me contact my man, my Lord, my man, main man upstairs, dog. And but convalescent home ministry, you know what I mean? It's hard. What are your comments about the other side of corrections to be Rasa with a badge in the pinta? Armando, well, homie, you're talking about Judas, right? Hello?
Yeah, it's how it is.
Look, Holmes, you're gonna live life, dog. If that's what God put in your heart, to be a badge, to have a badge and be a Huda, who am I to stop you, Holmes? You know what I mean? Who am I to say you can't do this, you can't do that? If you want to be that, then that's more power to you, homie. You know? A lot of homeboys that I know, and my homeboy, one of my crazy freaking homeboys, I'm not going to mention no names, homie. One of my crazy freaking homeboys, his daughter's a detective, homie. You know? And I was like, what? You know? And you could tell she was when you see her, you know? And, you know, that's a blessing, dog. Because you live that life, homie. You live that crazy freaking pinta life. You live that freaking crazy freaking life, homie. Give an opportunity to your kids to live a different life, homie. To have retirement, to have a pension. And if that's what they want to be, then ain't more power to them, dog, you know? That they may stick together and help out the Rasa within one another, you know? Um, if you're a chavala and you're scandalous with your own people and all that, homes, you know what I mean? And that's you, dog. You know, you get yours sooner or later, but you know, as long as you keep it female, respectful, then it should be vice versa, dog. You know, I've seen a lot of times where they give a pass to the Huda because he was female with everybody, you know. But I also seen Hudas get freaking dog crap beat at him, dog. You know, got you, homie. Got you. I mean, there was this Huda named Renteria. He was scandalous, dog. Finally caught up to him, homie. Yeah, after that, they seasoned that boy up. He was good, dog. Hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? He was good after that, homies, you know? Sometimes it takes that, you know? But if that's what they want to be, then who are we to stop them, dog, you know? If your nephew, your niece, or your daughter, or somebody wants to become a Huda, we'll let them be, homies, you know? We ain't nobody to stop them because remember, without them, there'll be anarchy, dog, you know? As long as they do their holly right and they ain't scandalous or, you know what I mean? I told my son already, something happens out here with this who doesn't know, like you call me up right away, I'll file a freaking complaint, I'll send a freaking lawyer out there. I ain't playing, dog. We know our freaking laws now, homie, you know? Back then we didn't have nothing. Now we do, homes. You know? I'll file a freaking complaint against them, against the freaking city. I'll file a lawsuit, dog, you know, because my son ain't no troublemaker, though he has a lowrider. You know, his homeboy has a Beamer, and they pulled him over and got him out of the car and everything. I said, man, you should have called me. You know, he works, he's going to the Marines and everything. I said, man, you call me next time. You know, because a lot of times they see that they think that you're a gang member. You know what I mean, and right away, you know, try to gaffle him up and thinking he's up to no good when they have a Holland, they're going to the Marines. Screw all that, dog. So it's up to them how they carry themselves, you know. I grew up around gang life, and I remember the OGs telling me stay in school. I have a PhD. Oh, that's right, homie.
That's right, canta no llores.
I'm retired from there as a Huda. Had a trip for 25 years.
Oh, that's the guy that asked you the question.
Oh
So I
yeah,
guess he was.
yeah. So yeah, Armando. That's good. Your retirement, your pension homes. You know what I mean? That's good, dog. You know, um, in reality, it wasn't the beef against the Hudas. You know what I mean? It was a beef against ourselves, homes. You know, and uh, as correctional officers, homes. You know, if they just live their life right and they feed me, then you know, uh, they get to go home. You know, you gotta always think about it. You know, like I got a couple friends. Look, I'm gonna be upfront here, dog. I'm gonna be feed man. I'm gonna be straight with you guys. In our gym, dog, there's a lot of hudas there, dog. A lot of them, homie. You know, they all know me. They call me OG. What's up, OG? What's up, pops? They call me pops or OG. They know my kids, and my kids been there before they were there. And they've been attached to my older son, and they're real feedmen, real cool, real freaking feedmen that I know them by their first name, and I don't look at them as Judas. You know what I mean? I don't speak that language with them. You know what I mean? Uh, but you know what I mean? I'll clown them like, "What's up, homie? What if I was under the influence of PCP? Can you handle me, fool?" You know, just to break the ice when I see them through the day. You know. But at the end of that conversation, at the end of our routine or whatever, you know, I tell him, mijo, You know, I know you've heard it before, but I'll be honest with you, you know, just please be careful. You know, be careful in your holly. It's just a holly. You know, you still gotta go home to your new wife and your new baby born. You know, and ain't no life like that to try to pull over an ex-convict or a convict homes or a vato that has a fusca, whatever. And you know, just be careful. You know, do the best that you can. Now, if it's SWAT or whatever, that's why they have them there and they do what they got to do. There's one SWAT vato there, and I'll listen to his stories while I'm working out, and you know, and I just like, damn, I trip out because never in my life would I sit there and listen and pay attention to the descriptions of what they do, and vice versa. Like they'll probably trip out on the life that we the language that we speak and
Mm-hmm.
how we lived it. And they'll say their stories while they're working out. Well, I have this individual here. I had to release I cocked the gun. I had to, you know, and what did you do? What do you think I did, fool? You know, I put one right on his chest. He reached for the gun after he had done, and they were like, damn, you know, like that's his life, you know, that's his life, that's his business. That has nothing to do with me. I don't live that life. I mean, I don't, you know what I mean? Um, and I tell that homeboy, I go, hey, mijo, I know you heard it before, whatever, but it's just a holly, mijo, you know? Please be safe out there, you know? You never know, just you try to make it home and leave everything behind. Don't take it to your cantona, you know? Now that I'm out and I've been out all these years, I think about the mayhem that we did and that people did and the warriors did, and they gotta go to the scene after. When we committed the crime, they gotta go to the scene. Now, it gets you thinking like, damn, that they see the esos, the corazon out and the tripas out and everything, you know, they get to see all that. Now, how do you erase all that and then go home to your wife and kids and go have dinner, you know? When you seen the Haina, the mom or the wife or the baby mama crying over the cuerpo, you know? You think about all these now that you're free and you change your life, you know, you like, God, wait, those dudes must be jacked up because that's the truth, you know? And I tell him, hey, mijo, you know, don't take none of that home, you know? Leave that there. Cherish your familia, your kids, your newborn. Hold them close and hold them tight. And, you know, show them a right way of life, you know? When he gets older and he asks you these questions, then be prepared, you know? But it's just a jale, mijo. Don't take it to the heart, you know, and do the best that you can do, you know? He goes, hey, man, Pops, that's what they call me. Hey, Pops, man, you freaking feed me, homie. They'll be like, you're freaking cool, bro. You know, they don't talk homeboys. You're freaking cool, bro. You know, he's like, I take it into consideration, you know, and, you know, just be careful, you know. But they also got to do their holiday. They live that life. That's what they chose, and you got to respect that, homies. Long as the vato gets at you straight and you get at him straight, homie, you know? If he's disrespectful, whatever, go file a freaking complaint, dog. Go write it up, homie. Go handle it, dog. Go to the commissioner, go to the freaking, the captain. If it's the lieutenant there for that day, file a complaint against him. Do it, dog. Don't just say, I know my rights. I know my rights. Yeah, you got rights, dog. But what I want you to go do is go file for it. If he disrespected you, he did you wrong or whatever, then go file a complaint. And if you don't want to do it, then have your freaking lawyer ready, homie. And then you file a complaint against the city manager because the city manager has the right to withdraw the sheriffs or the LAPD, dog. And you file a complaint against the city too, dog. You know, go do. I've done it before, homie. Right away, they're like, oh, hey, you know, I know my freaking rights now, dog. You know, but if that's the holly that they chose, then you gotta respect that, dog. But they're gonna respect you. You know what I mean? And if they're hard-headed hooters, or they're gonna learn some way somehow, just like the way we had to learn, you know. But it's a cat and mouse game, dog. It's a cat and mouse game. The man gets paid. It's a cat and mouse. That's all it is. It's the private businesses, the private corporate investors that have all these private CDCs and correctional buildings, facilities that make all the money while they have a cat and mouse game chase, dog. You know what I mean? So at least you guys are getting paid for it and we ain't, you know? But that's what I think about that, you know?
That's
Right?
no, I mean that is true what you're saying. And people do have to understand that it is a job. You
It is
know,
a job, yeah.
at the end of the day, it's not worth your life or anyone else's life.
Uh, and one time I got drunk in prison. I turned 19, I think. I hated this freaking Huda, you know? His name was Micho. It's called Micho Rizo. You. I was hot pedo. That fool just freaking slammed the door on me, dog. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, you know, F you, you know? And thank God that I didn't pick up a charge. But yeah, there was sometimes there was some hard times, but you know, who's gonna be a Huda? Did I get bombarded and all that? Yeah. By the Hudas out here? Oh hell yeah. You know what I hate the most when they used to pack you down like 7 in a car and I'll have a beanie and a pancho, a sarap,
Yeah,
a
Pancho.
pancho, and excuse me, the freaking Hudas will put the heater on, homie. Damn. Close all the doors. These were freaking punks. Them Hudas were punks, you know what I mean? But at the same token, we were no innocent kids, you know what I mean? But they were scandalous, you know? So they used to plant cuetes on us, plant dope on us. They used to plant a lot of things on us, you know? One time they caught me and I was so high, you guys. I was just like, I was walking down the streets, locotes, homie, I ain't gonna lie. And I had a I had a big bag of Yesca on my shoe. And my shoe, I used to cut it out, like my Nike Cortez, I used to cut it out so I was able to put a 22, 25, whatever. I was able to put it down there and I used to cut them out, and you know? And this time I had a big old bolsa of Yesca, big old bolsa, freaking big. And I shoved it down there like, hey, you know what here? And I was out there and I was freaking straight just taking my time doing some feeding my blocks in broad daylight. Taking my time, the blocks, big old block letters, as tall as I could reach, you know? And I'm writing Norwalk all freaking all gangster down and, you know, taking my time like, I look speed, man, all right. You know, back then you didn't care, you know, that didn't matter. And I was taking my time and a freaking Huda pulls up on me, creeped up on me, you know, and I heard it because of the brakes, you know, because of the brakes. You could hear, and I'm like, ah. He goes, don't even run, cause I'm gonna freaking catch up to you. And I'm like, I was high already, man. What you want, man? Freaking just vandalism, you know? Like, you're freaking against the car, you know? And they freaking gaffle me, freaking throw me in there, freaking. You think you can freaking spray paint this up? I think you spray paint the walls, man. Shut up. Just take me in vandalism. That's it, Holmes. Yeah, pay the freaking fine. And he goes, oh, we're gonna take you in, all right. And they cuff me up, and he's all like, you know what? I'm mad because we're supposed to be eating right now, taking our lunch break,
Yeah, we're here with you.
and we're here picking you up, you know? We just got a call right now. There's an individual spray painting the wall, and sure enough, you freaking through doing the whole block, a whole collage, you know, which I was, you know? The wall was freaking long. I want to say it was about 50 feet, and I was just taking my time, you know? And he comes up and he freaking gaffles me up. He has the food and he has Chinese food, I remember. And he's all like, man, you know what? F this. The other Huda tells him, hey, let's just go eat. So they go to the back towards the neighborhood and there's like a church back there. And that's where the Hudas should hang out at there. And I'm like, man, these fools, man, let me just send me back to the station. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man, let's just go. And they're eating their food on their hood and they're freaking taking their time and eating Chinese food. And like, come on, man. And I'm just like handcuffed in the back and I'm like, oh, the yes guy. Yeah, wait. You know what I mean? Like, damn. So I kicked open my shoe and I freaking threw the big old warts under there with my foot. Bam. under his seat. And I put my shoe back on as much as I could, and they took me out of the Ranfla and they freaking take me to the substation after, and I'm there, what I mean? Now they uncuffed me to do the fingerprints and I was able to put my shoe back on and do the whole fingerprint bull crap, whatever. And back then we didn't have no cells, you know what I mean? There was, because juvenile system, they kind of changed during the 80s and the 80s, really late 80s. And um, he comes back and he freaking clocks me when I'm handcuffed because they used to handcuff you to the chairs and like, hey, and he threw it at me. And all the hooters come, this motherfucker, you know what I mean? A big old voice. I go, I don't know what you're talking about, homie. And they got mad at the hooter because they say you already know. Out of all people, you gotta search the car before you really take them out. When you take them out, you really gotta search the car. And he threw it at me, big old bag, smelling like my patas, like motherfucker, you know what I mean? But they laughed at him, I said, I don't know what you're talking about. But they were did they paint my face? Nah, hell no. Hell no, they didn't do that, dog. But I was taking my time. I was just doing blocks. When you do blocks, when you know how to do graffiti, and you do some big old freaking blocks, you already know. And the way you did your water, you already know the angles of because you would practice it on the paper, but now, they didn't spray paint my face. They just freaking, they started eating. They started eating their damn food, but I threw the freaking Yeska under the seat, Sock check. Órale, David Simona. I always wear my sock, homie. Hey, Juan, what's up? Off the hinges. Yeah, dog. And he was mad because the Yeska, you know what I mean? He threw it at me. He goes, mother, that ain't mine. And I got away with the Yeska charge. But they did charge me with vandalism, dog. But vandalism is nothing, dog. Back then, Holmes, vandalism, if anything, dog, was maybe probation. But vandalism was really no charges, dog. Petty theft was really no charges, dog. You already knew as a youngster, as you coming up, you already knew the charges. Like, you already know the years of what carries what. Most of the years was 2, 3, and 5. You know what I mean? Your first 211, you could carry anywhere from 3 years to 5 years. You know what I mean? Grand Theft Auto, nothing, dog. You G-Ride as a juvenile, you get away with a lot of things as a juvenile, dog. But what they try to do is just try to accumulate everything so you could build up charges. You didn't have to worry about bailing out. See, LA County was different, dog. There was too many people in juvenile hall. They had so many juvenile halls. It was so crammed that they rather put you on probation and eventually try to build up your status to send you to YA. But G-Ride, if they caught you in the Rafla, if they caught you in the car, most likely it'll be Joyride. And Joyride was no charge. Joyride was petty, dog. They want the vato, the driver. Now, if the driver got away on a high-speed chase and you take off and you stay in the Ranfla, they can't pin the G-Ride on you. They won't pin the G-Ride. They'll pin you as Joyride. They'll try to do Grand Theft Auto, but they can't. The DA won't. The charges will be Joyride. And Joyride was nothing, dog. Joyride, you could be in probation, and violation. It doesn't really mean that you're gonna go get their shit. Now, if and indeed you're in the G-Ride and the Ranfla's already reporting, you go on a high-speed chase and they catch you, yeah, they'll get you for evading arrest and Grand Theft Auto, dog, So the charges are a little bit more steep. You're looking at some camp time. And if you come from a broken home, they could put you in placement, dog. Placement was pretty good, Placement was like a halfway house type, and everybody tried to go to placement, but you go to juvenile hall, then you will go to camp, and camp depends on the charges, you could be busted for a 211 and still go make it to camp. So all charges were different, but back then, graffiti was not. Freaking graffiti, now they just gonna put you on freaking probation and that's it, dog, I picked up a joyride, called my mom to pick me up from the station. Yeah, that's what they used to do. Call up your mom. And then after that, they'll send you to a probation location and you gotta go and show yourself in juvenile delinquent program or some bullcrap, you know. And I got busted for a fiero one time. I think it was a fiero, and they put me on probation. Finally, they tried to like really pin it on me, but you know, I've even had 2G rides. They gotta catch you inside the car. They gotta catch you inside the car or walking out of the car, dog. You know, so long as they get those two, then they can get you for the G ride. But other than that, it was vida loca. You just run amok, homie. But nah, back then, that's why I say, let's go to the station and let's go give torcidos and give me my charges of vandalism. It was nothing. Vandalism was nothing, you know. But
Yeah, they said LA County, no joke.
yeah, Ali County was no joke. Now you're in a dog, then that's a different story. In a dog, they're gonna try to mess with you, you know.
That's crazy.
But yeah, you know, you used to get away with a lot of things, you know. Petty theft was nothing. Petty theft was sometimes they take you to your house. I remember petty theft. They would take you to your house so your parents could deal with you, but they, you know, one time they busted me. Man, my rap sheet's so freaking big. Uh, One time we had a cohete and we put it away by by an office, by a building. I remember that building ain't there no more, and we had it for protection, of course. And sure enough, because we were kicking back in the corner and they thought they seen a cohete, you know what they charged me with? Oh, wait up. That wasn't even the rest of the story. Uh, we were in V class, and those V class were stolen. And we had GTs, and they had serial numbers. And we're like, damn, we were more scared. Not that we were scared, but we were more preocupados than on the bikes than we did the charge. Now, do you know what the charge was, homie? Just because they seen us in the corner, going to the liquor store and coming back and posting it up in the corner, they got us for attempted robbery, dog. Yeah, they got me for attempted robbery. I was about 13 years old, you know, and I was more scared of the freaking stolen Vicla, and they took the Viclas. Trip out on this. They took the bikes. They took us in. And me and my homeboy, they took us in. We were 13, and the two Viclas were stolen. And you know what I did the next day? Because they released me. They couldn't pick up the charges. They released me. I went back to the substation and got the freaking Viclas back out. I was crazy with it, you know?
That's crazy.
It was crazy, but yeah, it was some crazy times, you know. Pero when you're a juvenile, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? It
And you
doesn't.
get more of a
Yeah, they just slap in the hand. That's it, you know. But then you build up the cases, you know. Like eventually, after all the charges and all the charges, the one had a. Now back then, remember, you couldn't. You could go to court, like if you committed a crime, the victims had to come to court and point you out, dog. And if they didn't come, they had to drop the charges. Now the laws changed, like in mid 90s, I believe, you know. Pero back then I had charges, and then they had me for the one that really did it for me was possession of PCP and Grand Theft Auto.
because it was too much.
Yeah, it was $100 pour. Now, they had already passed a law that if it was over $20, it was considered attempted murder. So they charged me with possession of PCP and man, Grand Theft Auto, possession of PCP, and the Ramfla had bullet holes on it. We had gotten rid of the cuete. They got me for that. So eventually, all the charges that I had, they said, we got to get rid of this juvenile delinquent out of here, you know? And they sent us to this military boot camp type like it's never been developed before. And it was the first time that it ever developed, and it was a military boot camp, you you know, for drug offenders, gang members, and it was crazy, you know. But eventually, after 3 years, they shut it down, you know. Pero the possession of PCP, that's where it was a jugo, it was a botella, you know. And they end up giving me the charges. So, you know,
That's crazy.
that's one of the ones that really did it for me, you know. But they used to take you in for everything, everything and anything that they could, you know. Always made up charges. You know, when there was a stolen car there, of course, they would file a grand theft auto against you. But as long as they didn't catch you inside the car, you're all right, you know. How does PCP, how does PCP feel like you're immortal? Yeah, dog. Yeah. That drug ain't around no more. Not that I know of, but um, it's embalming fluid, you know? And man, you'd be so whacked out, dog. Man, you'd be like a robot, homie. You know, you'd be like a robot. But one thing for sure, it gets you strong. You'd be freaking strong, homie. You know, and it used to be through a cigarette, you know, and dip it, you know. It's a needle, yeah, probably. Mm. Yes, it's in Compton, Simon. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still around, but not as popular as it was. But it was a little bottle and cigarette. Y vámonos, get another cigarette, and you're gone. You know, you're freaking gone, homie. You know, and it was just you feel like a freaking immortal, homie. You feel like a robot, dog. You feel like Superman, homie. You know, and unstoppable. You know, and it's just bad. You know, it was just like a loquera that you could never. And then when you would come down, homie, it takes you like 3 months to clear up your mind, dog. Like you're like space cadet, dog. There you go. It takes you about 3 months to come down, homie. You're like a tonto, you know. Trick question: you can use a lighter? No, you can't, cause if you do, it blows up in your face. So you gotta use another cigarette and get a straight free. Dip that bad boy, homie. What's up, homie? Straight vida. Dip that bad boy, homie. And spark it up and jeez, homie, you just on a sick one, dog. You just like you feel like you're God himself, homie. You know, unstoppable. Like almost say immortal. Yeah, that's true, dog. You know. And then you just like spaced out, dog. You know. Sometimes you could function, sometimes you can't. Get locals, but you know, it smells like freaking thinner, you know, and
That's
be
crazy.
on the rough line in about 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Man, crazy, huh?
Wow.
I'm gonna tell you guys a story.
What up,
Can I say a
Jiggy?
story?
Yeah, Jiggy's on me. He said, "You remember? I remember."
I'm gonna tell you guys a PCP story. I know I've probably said it before. I had just barely gotten out, dog. Barely. I was fresh out of the county, I think. Fresh. And my homegirl, I'm not gonna say no names. My homegirl says, "Hey, what's up, Lazy? Let's go to the freaking pad, homie. Let's go, hey, you know." I like, oh, let's go. Don't ask me twice, homie. And I had just barely gotten out, and I had my Jefita's car. And I ended up going to her cantona, and my other homegirl was there, and my homeboy was there. And so, what's up? We're going to party. Yeah, yeah, Simone, Simone. And she busts out the jugo. And we're like, damn, all right, I can handle it. You know what I mean? I'm just fresh out of the system. And man, we start passing it around, and I'm like, oh, damn. I went downstairs to try to get some air, you know, and I'm like, God, this thing is strong. I come back because I went downstairs, and she lived on top of a apartment, and on top of the apartment, she lived by Little Caesar's Pizza. And I, you know, Little Caesar's Pizza in the apartment. So I come back up, and damn, my homeboy's freaking hugging the couch, you know, and my other homegirl, she's freaking holding onto the wall. And my other homegirl that invited me, she had porcelain. What do they call?
Oh, the dolls, the oh yeah, the ones that are
Porcelain
fragile.
dolls. Porcelain
Porcelain, yeah,
dolls.
porcelain dolls.
Remember the ones with the face, the porcelain face, and they had the body? And she had them all over the room, and she's all like, "You've been a bad girl. Don't talk to me like that." She was talking to the freaking doll, homie. I go there, I say, I wait, what the, like, damn. And she's talking to the damn doll. That's my homegirl, right? And I'm like, damn, man, this freaking bellow's hard, homie. And my homeboy's holding on to the couch, and he's freaking sweating up a storm. Like, oh man. And it's hitting me now. I'm trying to keep my composure, right? And it's gacho, freaking frio. Gacho is calafrio. I end up freaking walking towards the window. Now remember, she lived right on top of freaking Little Caesar's Pizza, so I open up the freaking curtain, and it's daylight now, right? Because we partied all freaking night. It's daylight. And I'm stuck on stupid with Little Caesar's Pizza and the freaking vato, the Roman vato with the pizza on top of the spike. And all I just remember was the doom, 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 the freaking pizza going like this. And I'm looking at Little Caesar's, and I'm on a sick one. I'm like, damn, after about 20 minutes, I'm just looking at Little Caesar walk with the pizza on top of the thing. I'm not even hungry. I'm on a freaking sick one. I said, oh man, oh hell no, I gotta snap out of this freaking loquera, and I'm like, oh hell no. I went to go get some water, and after about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, you know what I mean? I put water on me, and like, god dang. My homeboy's almost coming down. I could see him, and he's sweating up a storm, and my homegirl, she stopped hugging the wall. And she has her arms down now, like, all right, feed man, like, okay, we survived this hour of freaking mayhem, and my homegirl's still talking to the freaking the dolls. And like, oh man. And she was all like, oh man, it was feeding me, huh? Like, yeah, it was all right. I'm thinking to myself, man, this thing was strong. She goes, yeah, lazy. Hey, you know what, Holmes? We ought to get together again, and we're gonna still party. And she's opening up the bottle again for another one. And I said, oh hell no, I'm out of here, dog. Hey, you guys want to ride home? Cause this is too much. Nah. Hey, lazy, kick back. She puts the cap to the side. She grabs the flower. She inhales that and puts the PCP away. Nah, you're gonna stay here and party with me all night, like. Oh, hey, it's all night. It's already what, 5 in the freaking morning. The sun's already coming out. I'm like, oh hell no, homie. Like, and we took one more hit. We're like, let's just get out. I told my homeboy and my other homegirl that was hugging the wall, hey, you guys want to ride back to the hood? You know what I mean? You guys, Kylie. And they took one more hit, small hit. We took off. I'm all PCP'd out. I'm all freaking driving all locotes and drop everybody off. And sure enough, the freaking car breaks down on me, And I'm like, damn. So I call on my uncle, and I'm all freaking freaked out. And hey, Mike, like, who's it? It's me, man, Tony. When'd you get out? Mike, look, I took my mom's car and it's stranded over here. Go, you know what I mean? And he goes, all right. So he hangs up. I end up walking back to my homeboy's pad, and I'm all PCP'd out. And I ended up finding out I was so gone, homie. I ran out of freaking gas, homie.
You serio?
I ran out of freaking gas. I was all freaking PCP'd out, dog. Like, oh man. But my hunger was crazy.
That sounds like.
Talking to the freaking porcelain dolls. You've been bad. You are like, oh man, this freaking frio is hard, like that. So I go over there and I'm stuck at freaking Little Caesar's Pizza looking at that vato with this huaraches and this thing. And I'm all freaking on a sick one. I'm like, what the hell? Why is he walking? Why is the pizza moving like that? Like, yeah, that PCP strong, homie. It was brutal, It was hard. It was really no more. No, thank you, Jesus. I made it out, homie. Jeez. Andas loco, vato. Yeah, Felix. Back in the andaba, homie. Back in them days, it was just vida loca, dog. And that was the drug of choice back then. Thank God you're not living like that. Oh hell no, dog. We don't live like that. Is that crazy or what?
Wow.
My homegirl talking to the porcelain dolls. Lisa, my homegirl talking to the porcelain dolls. You've been bad. Don't talk back to me. I know what you've done. Like, whoa. What the?
That's crazy.
That's my homegirl.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying she's crazy, but that is just a crazy story.
Yeah. She's still alive. My homegirl's still alive.
That's good.
You know? She's torcida, but she's alive. She's torcida, but she's still alive, you know? I never want to get high again. Yes, you do.
No, that's Lisa.
Yes, she does. She wants to get high with Jesus.
Yeah. Lisa.
70s people still smoking that crap 2026? I don't know. Not that not that I know of, homie. Not that I know of, you know? That happened to me back in the days I saw Roger Rabbit. It was crazy. Yes. That's all that freaking desmadre, you know? I was crazy funny, Juan. Yeah, it was, man, that was too much, you know what I mean? That's coming up in November. Who you voting for? I'm voting for Pedro, homie. No more early 90s. No. It was crazy. What does it say? Uh, um, I'm gonna be the first in my family to graduate after so many generations of none of my family's graduating. I'm finally doing it. That's right, Mo. Mark. Criminal activity causes criminal consequences. It's simple. Don't break the law. Yeah, but you know another thing, Mark, that they should have rehabilitations, dog. You know, uh, not prisons, dog. Prison's a scam, Holmes. It's a money making scam. Look at the individual that's going running for governor. He made billions out of us, dog. You know, it's a trap, homie. It's a trap. I know. I get that part about the criminal part. I get it. Yeah, that's true. I agree with you, homie. But why was the trap set up so easy, dog? Why is there alcohol freaking license all over within 3 radius miles, dog? You have about 20 shops, homie. You know, you have check cashing places, you have motels, you have pawn shops, homie. Uh, Education's low through the community, you know, through your neighborhood, through the barrio. Um, it's hard, homie, you know. I'm not making up excuses, but at the same token, it's set up for us, homie. Like, here, walk this way. We're not gonna push you, but here's the road, you know what I mean? So I agree with you, but at the same token, está cabrón, homie, you know? Right, Gil?
That's true.
Yeah, you don't see the liquor stores and communities. Yeah, you don't, dog. Go to Lakewood, you see them on the Oscars. You won't see them inside, dog. Go to your Belinda. Oh, you won't see it, dog. No, Brea, your Belinda. You got to keep on driving. You'll see a 7-Eleven. Oh man, far, dog. You know. Uh, I sent you. I seen you in
No,
Negras into
I sent
to
you
Ray
an
Ray
email.
Salas from Radio Balingo. Oh, that's right. Uh, yeah, they know what they're doing. I know, Gil, and it's got you, homes. You know what I mean? Like right here in Norwalk. Oh, homie, radius mile, 3 radius mile. Shh, you know how many freaking liquor stores are here, homie? Shh, un chingo, homie. You know, and the city's approved of the dispensaries and all that, dog. So it's easier. Yeah, you get caught up. Here, let me throw in a pawn shop in there. Let me throw a Dollar Tree in there, and let me throw a hotel. So you could live off of that, dog, you know, and it's a trap. I mean, then after that, we got them. Boom. Let's keep on repeating that CDC number on them, you know. We've been talking about this for decades. What do you think we need to do for the change? The community needs to get together and go fight the city to go push all these people off of here, dog. You know, you got to keep pushing for the for righteous things out here, dog. You know, it's up to them to grant the alcohol license, homes. You know, and it's up to them to grant them the business license, and whether it could be a pawn shop, a hotel, or whatever the case might be, dog. It's up to you. It's up to the community to keep on fighting for these things. You know, and you keep on pushing, start breaking it down, start tearing it down, don't start tearing it down, you know. You will, you know. Unfortunate that some of the city councils get sponsored by dispensaries and all that, you know. the Yesca shops and all that because it's legal now, Pero one thing leads into another. The piso leads into the Yesca leads into the coca leads into meth. It's cheaper, more, less of a quantity, and it just goes on and goes on. But I agree with the homeboy. You ain't gotta commit the crime, but it's so easy to set up, homie. And then education's so freaking low out here. No, it's not even funny, homie. Uh, it's hard, homie. But you keep on pushing and keep on pushing. I live in Washington State, but I'm from New Mexico. That's right. I was talking to my dad earlier. He said liquor licenses were 50,000 back in the days. That's cheap because they're 100 right now, homie. They're shutting down liquor stores every day in California. Shh, that's pretty female. I do know that the sales of alcohol is down. So, but the other thing is the vapes. The vapes picked up.
And the teenagers, that's what they. I mean, it's cool for them. It's so that's how they start.
Yeah, so that's been picking up. So you got to fight all that, dog. You got to fight with your community. You got to fight with your city council and all them because they got to grant the business license. Saludos de Texas. What's up, homie? Uh, uh, Top color rehabilitation for one strong. That's right. Yeah, but that's the truth. You know what I mean? So as long as you get together with your community, you keep on fighting, you'll be all right, homes. And remember, everything starts at home. So it's up to you to show your kids an example. Like right here at this house, homie, my wife has a margarita every now and then, homie, and she won't bring it inside the house. You know what I mean? Ain't no drogas or
Mm-mm.
pisto allowed into the cantona like that, dog. You want to pistear, you're more than welcome to be outside. You want to smoke a leño, they're more than welcome to do it outside. But they won't do it out there in my cantona because I can also show some respect. And it's try to explain it to my kids so they won't fall into that trap. San Francisco tourist trap, that's the only reason. Yeah, that's right. Gil says I respect that. Yeah. They open a lot of liquor stores here in Yuma. Yes, they do.
Because Yuma's a little bit more nice.
Yuma's a little bit, it's growing. So remember, you guys got to understand this. And please pay attention, homes. And I will always tell you guys this. Um, Anywhere where there's a black and brown community, they're always going to have that and easy access because they want us to stay down, dog. They want us to go apply for financial aid. They want us to struggle. They really don't want us to come up. It's always going to happen that way. Hopefully one day we'll get a change, but I seriously doubt it. The orange man just passed the law of the voting. You know what I mean? To vote against us, dog, it's pretty good. It's pretty hard, the only time they hold meetings is during the weekdays when we're all working, struggling to get by. Simon. Orlevato saca el placazo. El pericazo, el placazo. Gil F the orange man. No, but it's true, you know what I mean? And another thing too, entertainment, the music, homie, it's all set up for us to fail, dog. Now, as you guys know, that rap has always been in the game of Jainas, Pisto, Drogas, Jales, and all that. The Morenos have came out with that, with the Judíos, and they're the same ones that financed the invested into the prison. So it was all caught up at one shot. So long as they keep on spreading that news about gangster this, gangster that, holly this, holly that, it's always gonna stick into the mind. And it's just a song. No, it has lyrics, homie. You're speaking it into existence. It's something that you might not know, Holmes, but you can speak it into existence, dog. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. The tongue is ignited by the flames of hell. That's what the Bible says, dog. So all this music, all the influences just steers it up, just like that paisa music with the little thing. It talks about survival. It talks about making it. It's a pa this, a pa that, and I made it, and I had to risk it this and risk it that to go do this and to go do that. See, now it's changed. Now that the Rasa has a little afro hair and little Jiffy popcorn hair, and they listen to those corridos. And us Rasa fall for it when us Rasa should be making some good solid music. Instead of music to leading you into destruction. Oh, it's just a song. Is it really a song, or is your finances tied up to the private industries of prisons? You have to really pay attention to all this. They're making all this negativity sell homes, you're just influencing the kids and you're pushing them to go do and go sell the honey. And it's gacho because our own gente produced that music, our own gente this and that. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty and you're torcido, homie, all that corrido music don't mean jack lick, homie, because you really gonna have to handle business. I remember all those vatos, oh, me this, I that, and all this, and it came down to the nitty gritty. I tell homie, go handle business, and there's a cuetero there ready for you, homie. Oh no, you know. Wait a minute, weren't you bumping corridos and you were this and you were that, and comes down to the nitty gritty, you ain't gonna do it, homes. And it's the truth. It's just entertainment, dog. And the people fall for it. And people want to get caught up with all that manners. And yet our people producing it and making, oh man, homie, it's got you, dog. Uh,
That's true though.
my wheels, bro, they're outside in my son's car. Let me see that Chevy that's been sitting in the yard. It's right there, dog. It's my freaking panel truck. I brought it out the other day.
They're laughing, Junior Sanchez.
The what?
They're laughing. That's true.
It's
Leon
true.
says 100%. Juan says that's right.
It's the truth, dog. And they'll bump it. They'll bump the corrido. They'll bump all that. Go to the joint, dog, with that mentality that you sling and that you badass and you, homie, they'll put you in your place, dog. They'll be like, man, stop that freaking nonsense, homie. This is reality, dog. Let me see how much of a gangster that you are. This and that. I tell homie, go handle your alley. You know?
Is your FB giving you issues or no?
No.
Okay, because it just says waiting for live video to signal.
No. But that's the truth. Caesar says facts. I see what you say. Yeah, it's the truth, homie. People live in fantasy world. Yeah, that's true, homie. That's the truth. It's the truth. You bump all that corrido, you do all this, you do all that, and next you get caught up in the real world. Look at what happens to the rappers, homies. And that may they rest in peace, homie. But you can't be rapping about all this whole desmadre and think you're gonna walk firme through the system and all that, dog. Your number's gonna come up, dog, and you gotta do what you gotta do, homes. And if you don't, then hey, dispensa, homie. You know what I mean? May God have mercy upon you, but you all this, you all that. When it comes down to it, you better freaking handle, dog. There's rappers in there that they're stuck and they gotta handle it, dog. And those lots are like, oh, you wasted. He's down with it, homies. You know what I mean? Hey, homie, somos contados. Yeah, it's true, dog. It's a handful, dog. It's just a handful, but that's the life you live. That's the life you claim. That's the music you want to listen to. That's the way you want to carry yourself, like a corrido and all that. Then, dale, güey. Dale gas, homie. Just remember what I told you, homie. When it gets down to the nitty gritty and you're in the system, ain't no more fantasy world, dog. You gotta stick to it, dog. And it's sad. Some people don't even make it, homie, but all that combined, homie, but it starts at home, carnal. It all starts at home, dog, I don't let my kids listen to corridos. F that, homie. I don't listen to that crap. And you know why I don't listen to it, homie? Because I freaking lived it, dog. I ain't got to sit there and listen to another man's freaking stories. I did it, dog. I went with it. I freaking handled, dog. I did it all the freaking way, dog. And that was it. I gave up. That's it. I finished. I cleaned my hands and I pushed all that crap away. I don't need to sit there and listen to, oh, I did this, I did that. I did it. So freaking what, homie? Who cares? Who gives an F? And it's all negative, homie. At the end of the freaking day, it's destruction, dog. And that's the truth. There's some good corridos. There's for everything, you know what I mean? For everything, there's good music, dog. But about most of them is hollies and pushing this, pushing that. Well, I can't tell you don't listen to it, dog. Just be prepared, because When the rubber meets the road, dale gas, homie. True, those have lived that life, realize that there's nothing glamorous about that. That's the truth, dog. I don't, all this new artists coming out and this is corrido this and corrido that. I don't give an F, homie. Go do, homies. Go handle your freaking business. Go freaking do what you say that you're gonna go do. And when you get to the system and you're in the shoe and you're in the hole and you're doing this and you're doing that, you better be freaking with it, homie. You better run with that bad boy, dog. You better say as bad as you are to go take care of that. Cause I'll tell you this much, homie. You're gonna meet vatos 10 times crazier than you. You thought you were crazy? Nah, homie. You're gonna meet freaking vatos 10 times crazier than you. That's the truth, dog. I thought I was crazy. Hell no, homie. I met freaking vatos 10 times crazier, homie. That didn't care, that they were just there, just rocking themselves to freaking death, homie. Like, God damn, homies, you know what I mean? Vatos were just gone, homie. Let me see, try to live that corrido life, homie. Try to sing them that song, see what's up, They're freaking slappy, dog, they were just cahoots, homie. Vatos that you don't speak to, that you can't relate to them because they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to talk to nobody. They don't want to hear that music. They don't want to. They're just in their own freaking chaotic world, their own chaotic mind, dog. But you think that you're gonna live like that and do all that? Then go handle, dog. Go live your, go live the best life that you can, dog. But it all starts at home, homie. It all starts at home. It's up to you whether you're gonna change or not. It's up to you. It keeps on dropping.
Yeah, it does. I don't know if it's because of the music.
Oh, it's the music.
Yeah, just
Let me start all
probably
over
start
again.
over. Drew said, "Cubo tío Chicano B7Y." Say that's right, vato.
But that's the truth, When you think you live that life and you want to live that corrido life and you handle commando, dog, dale, güey. It's sad because all these producers, all these directors are making all the freaking money. They could care less about you, dog, Well, you got an audition for a movie? I've done some movies, dogs, but nothing big. When people get degrees in philosophy, yeah, it's not philosophy, I ain't no philosophizer, homie. It's reality, dog. It's freaking reality, carnal, It's up to you how you're gonna live your life, homie. But I did pick up my philosophy and soloography, homie, 101, dog. But hey, gracias. Your shirt is fire. Gracias. Check me out right here on Rockin Chicano on TikTok. I got them there. I got my own label, dog. I'm blessed like that, dog. I push, homie. I don't need to have that whole holly that I used to do, man. I'm good, homie. Hey, homeboy, I like your lives. There's the effing truth. Yeah, Simon, gracias, homie. It's the truth, dog. It starts all at home, homie. It's up to you how you're going to raise your kids, dog. How you going to raise your kids? You let them go like that? Hell no, homie. I tell my kids, you're going to run your freaking mouth, homie. Daniel.
Daniel.
He's over there talking to his Anita. He's going to go to his Highness Path tomorrow, huh? Daniel.
What's up?
Hey, fool.
What's up,
Come
dog?
here. What did I teach you, mijo? If you run your mouth, what?
Run them hands, homie.
Run the freaking hands, homie.
Run them hands.
You gonna run your freaking mouth?
Hell no, I don't run my mouth. Just run the hands.
Run the hands, right?
Yeah, run the hands.
You
The
get
mouth
no
don't
po-
mean nothing.
The mouth don't mean nothing, huh?
Yeah. And if you win or lose, it doesn't matter. I mean, you got up there, you fought.
But are you gonna run your mouth? Are you gonna be a hater, talk mess about other people?
Hell no, people talk crap about me.
And if you got something to say, you're gonna go tell them?
Hell yeah.
That's right, Holmes. Other than that, just keep your comments to yourself, right?
Right?
How old are you, 18?
18, fool.
Have you had your first pisto yet?
Hell no.
Your first toque?
Hell no.
You be bumping corridos in your car?
Hell no, fool. Hell no.
That's
hell no.
right. That's
No
right.
disrespect
You don't need
to
you,
nobody out there.
no
but
disrespect to nobody, but you don't live that life like that, right,
Hell
mijo?
no, that's not me.
You live in the barrio, right?
Hell yeah.
The
I
Chicano?
grew up with the OGs, the true ones. The ones that you got something to say, they'll throw down.
That's right, amigo. Touch
Not,
you right,
not,
man.
not none of these new what is it? Dry snitchers out here that out here telling stories and
That's
snitching
right, amigo.
basically, man.
You gonna go to your highness tomorrow?
Hell yeah.
Tell us a kivo, dog.
Come on.
See, it all starts at home, homie. It all starts at home. You know? It all starts at home. It's up to you how you're gonna raise your kids, dog. You're gonna run your freaking mouth, run the freaking fist, homie. You got something to say, go tell that about those gonna be in a freaking comadre. Go handle your freaking business, dog, you know? That's the way we grew up, homies. You don't see that no more, you know? Other than that, keep your comments to your freaking self. Exactly how I taught this kid. He ain't gonna be worrying about freaking running corridos and all that, because he don't live that freaking life. He works hard for his stuff. For his car, for his quads, his dirt bikes. He works freaking hard for that, you know? Bumped in corridos, me go, hell no, man, throw that crap out there, dog. We don't bump that shit, dog, you know what I mean? I hardly ever bump rap, homie. The negativity. I bump oldies, homie. Watch that thing. You got your Heina, your hookah, dog. Why you want a vato go prove something to somebody? Shale, homie. You got your freaking Heina, homie. That's what you gotta do, dog. Go kick it and go chill with her, dog. Am I gonna be at the Bay Area car show? I'm trying. I'm trying to go up to the Bay. I told my kids the same thing. That's right, Lisa. It was oldies but goodies, Simone. Lisa says, that's right. That's right. Facts. Gil says, facts, pa. I ain't pa, homie. Let me tell you something, mijo. You don't tell a pa to another man. There's only one pa, and that's your dad, homie. You don't call pa to nobody else. I hate to tell you that, carnal. But you don't call pa, you don't call dad and nobody else, homie. Remember that. That's the problem that this new generation has. Call people pa. You don't call them pa, dog. You only have one dad, and that's your dad, homie. You know? Get that through your mind,
Yeah,
homie.
he said.
Get used to that. Get used to that mentality. Get rid of it, dog. How you gonna call another man pa? Hell no. F that. You ain't my freaking dad. Might as well call him Patch Daddy, homie. Hey, Patch Daddy. What bar are we going to today? F you, homies. You don't call that no. You don't call pa to nobody, homies. That's a problem that these youngsters have, homies. Calling pa to people that they don't even freaking have their own dad. And they don't have the decency to go spend time with their dad while their dad is busting their butt. You know? Lisa says, damn. Chill, pa. Nah. Don't call me pa, dog. You got a dad, homies. You got a freaking dad, homies. I ain't your dad, homies.
They said agree on the pa. Sounds lame as F.
Yeah, they say, hey, pa, why you gonna call another man dad, Holmes? Think about it. Hey, dad. Man, if my mom was alive, I freaking slapped the hell out of me. You don't call another man dad. What's wrong with you, you know? Excelsior Pilots. That's right. That's right, Robert. Congrats, homie. Blocked him. No, I don't block him, Holmes. He's a youngster, you know what I mean? He's agreeing with everything. It's just you gotta teach him that not to call the other man pa.
I don't think he's taking it.
You're not taking it wrong. You're not, you just get the habit of getting rid of that word, homie, because to call another man pa, and that's what the youngsters be using, right, Holmes. You don't call another man dad. What's wrong with you? You already got a dad, Holmes, you know? I ain't your freaking poppy, you know?
See, he agrees. Said I
You know?
agree 100%.
You know? You don't call another man Poppy, you know, you just might as well call him Poppy or Dad or Patch Daddy, you know, nah, F that. Call him freaking, my kids call another man freaking Pa or Dad, I'll freaking slap him silly. What's wrong with you, fool? But it's a habit that people say that, you know what I mean? A habit of, maybe they didn't have a dad and they want to say Pa because they think that you're priority over them or you're first, and out of respect, I'll call you dad, and I didn't have a dad. But if you had a dad, you would understand that your dad means everything. Your mom and dad means everything to you. You could never call another man dad because he's not going to step in your life to raise you, you know?
That's true.
And if he doesn't, you could call him dad. If he's a dad and he steps in,
Well, then, yeah.
Motherfucker stepped up to the plate, homie, then you got to call him dad, homie. But he stepped up. He took care of you. He took you in.
He said, Gail said, I'm old. I picked it up from my young Latino homies. You're too much. You're too much.
Well, you gotta get rid of
He
that,
said I'm
dog.
about to be 30. Okay, he's not that old.
Oh, you're not that old, homie, but you gotta get rid of it, dog. Because if you say that, might as well say, call him the Vatos Patch Daddy. Hey, Patch Daddy. The bikers say that. Hey, Patch Daddy. What the hell? What's wrong with you, fool? You know? That part, yeah.
He said I'm gonna get rid of it.
Yes, you should. Yeah,
Okay.
gracias. What up, homie? Silo, what's up, carnal? Alisa, hola, what's up? Adelina, what's up, man? How's that hat collection? This one's firme, gracias. Have I got a new hat?
I think you showed him
Oh, yeah. I already showed you guys. I got it on this week.
last week, no?
Yeah. This week or last week? Last week I
yeah.
got it. Yeah. I got one, but it didn't fit me like a dummy. I just looked at it, put it on real quick, but I didn't really take my time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start saying passion. No, fool, no, hell no, no, don't say that, fool. Yeah, you don't say that, carnal. You know, we cool, you know? Patch Daddy was up, you a punk. Uh, I ain't no punk, homie.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Who is it?
I don't know. I'm going in there.
Let me see who they are. Ruben Reynolds.
Yeah, whatever.
Ruben Reynolds, who is he?
It's loading.
Oh, what up, gangster? Hey, fool. Patch Daddy, what's up? Nah, I ain't no Patch Daddy, homie. You punk? Why am I punk, homie? Why am I a punk, homie? Because everything that I say, I speak facts, homie. Crazy. What's up? What's up?
There's nothing.
Gracias.
There's nothing.
He's nothing on there?
Nada.
Okay. All right, pues. Anyways, that's it. What time is it? 8:48. I'm already what? 2 hours almost?
Almost 2 hours.
Almost 2 hours, man. You remind me of Ruben Guerrero from Gilroy, the Ghost Dad. Hold on, was he a fighter? Simone, I can see it. All right. Gilroy, man. Gilroy Speedman, dog. We've been through there. The Speedman. Lisa, no harm. Sup, fool? What's up? Blow. Kibo Canal, did your son ever get the measurements for the plaque for the backrest of my Vikla Cudahy? Daniel. The Cudahy one, yes. Pop. The Cudahy placa. Remember with the black motorcycle?
Yeah.
You already got the measurements?
Do I already have the measurements?
Yeah. For the back one? No, huh?
No.
Okay. We don't got it, dog, but
Is it a standard? Is it a standard one?
It's kind of different.
It's different one.
yeah, it's a different one because okay, now let me explain something to you guys. When they steal it from you guys, they'll take it off. When they hate you because you're out in your city, they'll break it off. You know, there's a difference. And his was stolen. So we can make it. Let me just get the right measurements. We could do it and inbox me so we could get you a receipt going. That way we could keep on pushing. And a lot of people ask for orders, but like today, a guy goes, he called me up. He goes, hey, that bastard, when I gave you the pin, he never gave me the freaking pin. You know, like, you know, it must have been another author. It wasn't me. And I'm careful when I do take things because then I have to be responsible, you know. But Simone, dog. Oh, Ray, what's up, man? How you doing? Ray Salas is on here.
Oh, hey.
Ray Salas. That's right. What's up, Ray? How you doing, my brother? Saludos. Hey, you guys. What's his radio station?
It's called.
Ray, what's your radio station? If you guys could tune in, please, you guys. This is a female radio station. This Vato's been a DJ forever. He was a DJ for Radio Bilingüe, where what's his name, Mark Anthony, as in for oldies and bump funk, and nobody beats him in the oldies. Even Norwalk Records can't. I'm from Norwalk.
I think it's every Sunday.
And we have Norwalk Records. This guy will demolish Norwalk Records. I swear to you guys. This guy, he is awesome, you know?
TejanoRadio.com, no?
Which one?
Tejano Network.
You got that name on there?
That's what the flyer says.
What up from Pico Union? What's up, homie? TejanoRadio.com, you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, that's what.
Okay, listen, you guys. It's called TejanoNetworkRadio.com. Go check it out, homie. Vato be bumping all kinds of music. And I telling you right off the top, homie, we know DJ Vince. I love DJ Vince. I love DJ Chente. I love everybody. Don't take me wrong. I love everybody. But this vato destroys the scene. This guy, he's been in music his whole life. And I've known him for many years. Good dude. He's the one that named me Tabbers instead of Tavares. He just shorter Tabbers. And his music is off the hook. Tejano Network Radio.com. When you guys get a chance, tune in. I believe it's on Sundays, homies. You know what I mean? Or Thursday nights, you know?
From 9 p.m.
From 9 to 12 a.m. This vato be bumping, dog. Bring a vato with the oldies, and he's going to give him a run for his money. And the vato's a Tejano. But, of course, the oldies did come from Texas, so that's his whole roots. So he's pretty firme. Tavares brothers, no, they're my homies. I know who they are. Yes, that DJ is Bombay. Yes, Eleanor, he's bad. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. A lot of homies that come out of the joint, the music, it was through Radio Bilingüe. And he used to work with Radio Bilingüe. And they would take dedications. And he would bump underground, hard to find, Chicano oldies. You know? It's worse than corridos de Tex-Mex. No, he's pretty good, dog. Remember, the oldies, the hard to find soul Chicano oldies did begin in Texas, homie, you know? And, of course, he has a whole collection of that crap. It's pretty good, you know? On a Tuesday, you should go do a pop-up with $1 Rockin Chicano tacos. Ándale.
Tell him he can help us make.
You can help me too, fool. Not bad, homie.
I know. He wants to plan it and not.
Eleanor, his music is the crap, badass. Yes, it is. It is, Eleanor. You know, you should know. I mean, Joe must have told you that. Got you hip into Radio Bilingüe. Ray Salas. He was bad. He was freaking bad. He's bad. I don't think some of the DJs could. They'll give him a run for his money, but not that I know of. I'm not gonna lie. My cousin could give him a run for his money in Afro-funk. I'm pretty sure, but underground oldies, sold, hard to find, and all that. Nah, hell no. He would destroy my cousin. You know? Didn't know about Texas. Simon. Oh, yeah, they go back, homie. Saludos, Anthony Maria. Abraham, what's up, homie? I'll make the fire special salsa. That's right, man. Hey, come on down. Help me out.
Hey, buy the carne.
Buy the carne, cara. We'll be there, homie.
Cheap.
Ruben. That's for... Oh, Ruben's still on here talking masa?
Yep.
Ruben, what's wrong with you, dog?
And I went in there. He has nothing.
You have nothing, Ruben? You have...
Block him or no?
Ruben Reynolds. You just talking masa? Why, dog? Johanna didn't give you none, homie. You know, your side vato didn't give you, you know what I mean? You know, zooms and whams, homie. Dog, you ain't got to take it out of me, homie, though. If you're pickle smoochers, that's on you, carnal. You know what I mean? You ain't got to be all aguitado, homie. Your life ain't got to be all miserable, homie. Remember, they got Santa Monica Boulevard over there. Dale gas, homie. No hay pedo, homie. That's all you, dog. Take it to the neck, homie. No hay pedo, homie. But you ain't got to come over here and be hating on me, carnal.
With no profile.
With no profile, homie. That's crazy. All right, pues. I'm about to take off, you guys. Enjoy the rest of the night. And it's already been 2 hours, so thank you guys for tuning in. Gracias. Much love and respects for everything, man. Remember, what is it again? Text.
Oh, it's called...
What is it called? Tejas, text. TejanoNetworkRadio.com.
Yeah.
Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Check them out, homies. Check them out. TejanoNetworkRadio.com. Check them out, homie. All right, pues. Buenas noches. I'm about to bounce. I got to go take a liquiazo, homies. Y tú sabes, dog. And as for you, Ruben, hey, No hay pedo, homie. There was no huevo for you today. Might be another huevo for you another day, homie. But stop being a hater, carnal. Everything will be all right, homie. I know you're all chirujo out, homie. You know? But whatever's clever, homie. I'll see you vatos al rato. Buenas noches. Much love and
Bye,
respects.
everyone.
Let's go like this, and like this.